Hey guys, curdhos here from Hostyle Conditioning. It's Thursday, February 16th, a couple days after Valentine's Day. Weekly weigh-in time. As you recall, last week on my weigh-in time, I had blown my diet up a little bit at the big trip to Toronto with my wife and enjoyed ourselves on a Monday night after my cheat night on Saturday and a little bit on Tuesday. Consequently, my body weight went up 4 pounds that week, so I went from 320 to 324. And again, like I said, I wasn't shocked, I wasn't surprised, but I was a little disappointed still internally because, you know, you're trying to hit those goals of the 275. So I understood why. Wasn't going to beat myself up about it, but I definitely knew I had to dial things back in. And dial things back in as far as what I was doing before, and then look at things a little bit overall as far as training, frequency of training, the types of training between intensity training, weight training, and steady state, which is my usually daily 5 to 6 times a week, half-hour walk on the treadmill till it gets nicer outside. So that being said, I sat down and just sort of looked at my plan, my diet, and tweaked things up. And you know, I didn't want to change everything because I knew it was working. I just had to fine-tune things back and use that motivation of being frustrated a little bit last week to get back into it and get that nose down on the grindstone and stuff. So again, not reinventing the wheel, just getting back on that wheel, or the wagon, if you will. So that being said, went in this morning and trained one of my clients this morning at 6 o'clock. At 5 to 7 went downstairs for my Thursday weekly weigh-in, and like I said, I was up 4 pounds last week to 324. Here we go, down 6.8 pounds to 317.4. So pretty pumped about that. A little better than I thought I would. I was hoping to actually get under 320 anyway, to at least get ahead of where I was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on my weekly weigh-in number 4, I'd gone down to 320.4 or 320.2. So with the 4-pound swing last week, I really just wanted to get below the 320 to, you know, basically put myself back on track the week before to get to 320. I had lost 1 pound, so I was hoping for at least that 319 overall. And I was quite pleased to get on and get the 317 and change. You know, I felt pretty good, so I was pretty sure I was going to be under the 320. But again, you know, emotionally after the week before going up 4 pounds, you know, no matter how much you know and you understand, you still have that emotional connection to it. So I really wanted to make sure that I was able to, you know, do well and, you know, proof in the pudding as well. You know, what I preach to you guys is definitely works, and that I have to do it as well. I feel a lot better, and I mean, not just, you know, mentally because, you know, I hit that goal and I got back on, but because I got back on track, I feel a lot better, and I feel the fitness effect overall. So again, that's a total of losing that first 4 pounds that I gained the week before, and another 2.8 pounds on top of that for a total of 6.8, which I really like that 2.8, you know, extra, if you will, from the 320 spot, because it really gets me back into that 3 to 5 pound range that I want to do. So, you know, I feel like I'm really back on track. A couple of things I did tweak just when I sat and looked at everything is that, like I said, I talked about my steady state cardio, which is 30 minutes on the treadmill, at a 1.5 degree incline to sort of mimic the outside, you know, effect of walking and propelling yourself, so that when I go outside, it's not a big shock to the system. A lot of people keep the treadmill on no incline when they do their walking, and, you know, can walk 3, 5, 10K, and then when they get outside and go to do it, they're surprised how half of that kicks their butt. Well, it's because you're propelling yourself when you're walking outside on a flat surface, and if it's even more undulated and rocky or uneven, like a path would be if you're going through, you know, a park or a wood or whatever, it's even more work to propel yourself through that. So by getting the incline to 1.5 degrees, it helps you mimic that, so the transfer, the carryover from working the indoor treadmill to the outside isn't going to be as much of a shock. It's still going to have a different feel, you know, 5K inside or 3K inside. Outside's going to feel a little tougher, even on a flat surface, but because I'm using that 1.5 degree incline on the treadmill, not so much of a shock, and I'll quickly adapt that within the first 2 to 4 walks overall. So just a little side note there for people that are wondering how to set a treadmill up so that it mimics more the outside. You can go to a higher degree if you want to, but at 1.5 I find is pretty close and will get you there overall. But what I did do is I wanted to look at my overall steady state. And again, steady state means you know, a 20 to 30 minute duration of a continual cardio type activity, but no sprinting, no high end, no huffing and puffing. On a scale of 1 to 10 of exertion, the intensity trainings we do here with kettlebells and bodyweight training, we're always aiming for 7 minimum, but 8 and 9. On the treadmill or outside on your steady state, you're looking for a 5 to 6. So when I sat there and I realized what I was doing as far as my speed on the treadmill for my power walking, I really sat and I realized that over the last 5-6 weeks, I've increased my fitness capacity. I'm fitter, I'm tougher, I have a better cardiovascular. So the speed I was using, which was 2.5 miles an hour, was really more around the 4 out of 10 exertion level, right? Which is lower than what I want to have it happen. Barely starting to sweat near the end. It almost got a little boring and stuff like that. Not that 30 minutes of treadmill isn't kind of boring overall, but you know what? It was like, I could feel it was too easy. So again, when I looked at what I wanted to tweak back in and look back at my diet and my training activity, knowing that I want to overcome that 4-pound weight gain last week, I started looking at small areas that I could adjust. And again, this is something that's good to do. I used that motivation of last week to sit there and dial a couple areas back in. So back on the food, back, eating the proper meals tighter and more effectively. But again, looking at my steady state to push back to a 5-6. And all I had to do is ramp it from a 2.5 mile an hour walk. I have an older treadmill, it's in miles, to a 3 mile an hour walk. So, up maybe 10%, 15% of speed. But it's enough that, within 7 to 8 minutes into the walk, I'm starting to sweat a little bit and breathe a little bit. Nothing crazy, but definitely I'm hitting that 5 to 6. And because of that, a little more focus on the walking, it's a little faster, dials my head in it so it's not as boring. I'm more engaged into it as well too. And that's something I started up as of, Thursday? I think I started last Friday when I sort of sat down Thursday, Friday last week when I gotten back from the trip on Tuesday. And I sat there and I said, okay, I got to buckle down and work a few areas and just, regroup. And that's something we need to do. And I do that with my clients all the time, every 4 to 6 weeks. Let's sit down and look at where you're at in comparison to your goals. And let's see if there's any tweaks, because people will call it plateauing. I call it adaptation to their stressful training, and that's what we want. And that's success, right? When you get to that point where what was challenging is no longer near as challenging or challenging at all, that's success. But we need to ramp up the intensity and the workout capacity so that we get challenged again, because it's in a continual, consistent challenge of the body at different levels that the body has no choice but to adapt. And it'll adapt by burning body fat, building lean muscle tissue, increasing core capacity, and just making you fitter and tougher. And that's what we're all about at Hostile Conditioning. So all that being said, back to what I was working on, a couple tight little basics, just fixed a few things, and voila, as they say in French, look at the results overall. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped and motivated, but like I said, I took last week's little kick in the pants and used it as fuel to work towards it. I didn't go crazy, I didn't go to rice cakes and popcorn and drink water and eat cabbage soup all day like some people freak out and do, and then try and run an hour and a half a day. I didn't do any of that. I didn't overreact. I looked at the plan, made sure my plan was in line with what it had to be, made a few tweaks and modifications to allow for the fact that I was fitter and tougher overall, and I needed to bump things up just a little bit to get where I wanted to be, especially on the steady state factor, and it all dialed in. Like I said, walking downstairs, I felt pretty confident, a little, better results than I had hoped for, which is always great. And then, like I said, let's keep working towards that. So that puts me, for my overall goal of getting down to 275, I'm just over 42 pounds away, so 42.6 pounds away from my overall goal for the year of 2012. So I feel like I'm a lot more in control. 10 weeks at 3 to 5 pounds, I'm looking at 30 to 50 pounds. So in 10 weeks, we're looking at March, April, I could be at my 275. So that'd be pretty exciting. Deep down, I'd be happy with a May, June, but there's no reason why I can't hit it sooner and keep working on the quality and tweaking it and stuff. So again, that's the Thursday weigh-in check-in. I want to say thanks for tuning in and watching. I really appreciate that. Again, any questions you have, email me, hit me up on Twitter or Facebook, Hostile Conditioning. That'd be fantastic. And again, this is curdhos from Hostile Conditioning saying, crush it.